So in today's video, we are going to discuss the points that you need to encounter and you need to have before starting your SaaS journey or you want to make a SaaS application. These are a couple of points that I have actually categorized it from my experience and what I think this should be necessary for before starting your SaaS application. Now, in these points, I have mentioned about documenting, planning, designing, and coding your first MVP, sales marketing, and then data rollout. Now, we are going to discuss with the documentation and planning. Documentation is the most crucial step, and you need to follow, you need to plan what you're going to have as a feature in your application, what are, implementation or third-party APIs that you may use in your application. You have to document all those things. You also need to have a subsequent amount of budget for your entire application, like expenditure or purchasing any servers or any expenditure you're going to going to buy. So you have all these in one document. Also, you need to fix a timeline. So for example, what I basically do is that I document for my particular application. Let me show you. So this is how I basically document my any application up here. If you can see up here, this is how I make. So I categorize all the features at one place. Like these are all the features that are going to happen in my application. These are the technologies and how I'm going to add stacks or APIs or like cloud and all those topics that I'm going to cover. Then I start explaining all the front end technologies going to use, styling properties, backend, what are things I'm going to use in my application. Moving with all the kind of third party, if I require cloud, what are clouds I'm going to have with my application. Now, if you really don't want to make this document, you can actually go on freelancer platforms like Fiverr, Upwork. You can hire a person, you can consult, take their consultation service, and they would be able to help you to provide the best document and able to structure your entire application. So this is how I basically do. The template for this document would be also in the description. You can take it from there. So it will help you actually throughout your journey. Like in between, you can come back anytime and you can refer to this documentation, and which will obviously help you. I also plan about milestones and the timeline, how much it is going to cost me, how much like days and the subsequent timeline for building this application is going to cost me, and the time that is going to I have to spend on these things. So all these things I like to document from my side. So the second point which we are going to come into is what we call as designing and coding. So this is the part like when your entire documentation is done. This is the part where you are actually going to start implementing your application. You're actually going to start writing the first line of code, what you have actually planned out. But before actually writing, you need to decide like what you are actually. Are you a passionate programmer who know how to code, or you have this confidence like, okay, I would be able to code my entire SaaS application for my side, from designing, structuring user experience and writing the backend, connecting all those APIs, all these things. Are you able to handle it, or you need an help, or you don't have an idea about programming? You need an help from Upwork or Fiverr. You need to hire someone. So you need to decide from yourself like what you are going to do. Let's suppose if you are a passionate programmer, you're going to go with your VS Studio, you're going to start with your coding environment, whatever framework you prefer, a Monstack, Django, Java, any framework you like to use for your application, you can start with. Now let's suppose if you are a non-technical, like you don't have a knowledge of programming and you want to start. So for technical as well as for non-technical, you need to remember one thing right now is that you are going to make a minimal viable product. In this, what happens is that you actually take the core functionalities, the functionalities that you think is actually different from other SaaS solutions out there, that you think that it is okay at my area, and this is like what my application is providing to the people, and it is going to create a better impact. So these are a couple of features that you are going to implement first, instead of implementing all the other settings, all the other like file sharing, file cloud storage, or any kind of features which is basically common throughout most of the SaaS applications. So you need to have a list of what you have common, and you need to have a list like, okay, these are the features which makes my application different from other people, and this is what my MVP is going to consist of. So let's suppose you have those features, you have made a list. Now what you are going to do for a non-technician, you are going to go to these platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Freelancer, People, all this. Now you are going to go to this place and you are going to ask, you are going to find a person, a developer or a designer. You're going to ask them to actually build your application for you. Now, actually, starting a journey with a person whom you really don't know, and he's living like in some other country overseas, or there's a time difference like 6 to 8 hours. There are a couple of points you really need to take care. So first is like you should have the access of your work. Let's suppose in terms of coding, what I would say is that there's something called as GitHub. Now GitHub is a version control, and it is used to store the code. And normally what happens is that these developers that you're going to hire from the platform, like this freelancers platform, they are going to use their own repository, they are going to use their own account, and they are going to keep your code on their account. So instead of asking them to keep your code, your project code on their account, I would recommend you to actually go and create an account on GitHub, GitLab, whatever you like, and give the access of that repository to these developers. In this area, you are going to have the full access of your work. You are going to see, okay, what all commit and what all changes have been there on my project throughout the time. And in case if tomorrow that person goes also, you would be just removing him from your repository. Now, the reason why I'm saying is that because you don't know that person, maybe he would use your code and resell it. He can use his own project, or he can come with this different idea or something like this. So this is the number one thing. Any account, not only GitHub, anything that is required, make sure you create your own account. Make sure you provide your own account access to that person, and make sure that all the things that is related to, for your project is provided from your side. So this is the first point. Now, the second point is keep a track of time and keep a track of the task that you are going to assign to these developers. Now, the reason why I'm saying is that let's suppose there's a deal, there's a contract which happened between you and the person, and you agree to pay him like per hourly basis, like $5 an hour or $10 per hour. You're actually paying that person. So you need to keep a track. Okay, let's suppose in this month or this week, these are the amount of tasks that developer has did. This is the time and the which is being used by that person. So this is the amount of money that I'm going to pay. Now, what I mean by all these things is, let me show you. So this is one of the software that I use for myself. Links would be in the description. So if you see, like today is Sunday, obviously no one is working right now. But if you go and have a look in my task and my team section, you can see all the people I have been added up here. You can go to their task. You can see, okay, these are the tasks which were completed, and this is the amount of time they have actually consumed to complete all these tasks. Moving further, like if you want to get a report of your particular organization, you can go, you can select your month, you can apply the filter. It will give you the total amount of hours that has been done, how many people work in that month, and what is the days, or the days on which it was off or the work didn't happen. So this will actually help me. Let's suppose if I want to track like what my designer is doing, I can see like, okay, he worked 82 hours. I can go to the calendar. I can see, okay, he came on these days. He also came on Saturday. That is very good. I can see all the people who are working within my organization, like what tasks they are actually working on, what are things they have actually did in. And also, I don't know if it is important, you can also get a geographic location also of them. So these softwares like this help me actually to track and keep a time of, okay, this is the task that is being completed at this particular time, and it actually gives me a transparency report, so I could pay that person, okay man, you have worked like 100 hours this week, or 100 hours a month, and this is the amount of money you have made, and this is your check. So this is how I basically do. Now, third point that we need to consider, let's suppose the person who agreed with you, and we started the work, you should have a regular meeting calls with it, at least twice a week. So why twice a week is actually to keep a check of all the things are actually going proper. Because look, the SaaS system that you are going to make is actually for yourself. You are the founder, the idea, all the features, how things needed to be implemented. You are the person to whom this idea came at the very first place. Whether or not you explain how go to a person in front of you, they or may not get that kind of an idea that you may have a perspective of. So it's better to get regular calls like twice a week, okay, and check all the things are proper, check all the features are proper, like implementation are going well, or some, if there is some feedback, some errors you may find, you can obviously ask them to correct that thing. So this is one of the points that I would like recommend to use. Now the fourth point that we came into, like signing an agreement and an NDA. So before you actually share your idea or start discussing your project about, actually start working on your project, you should actually go and sign certain agreements and NDA from that developer. If that person is total stranger and if you really don't have much confidence on him, you should go and sign certain agreements. So legally, this helps you in future also if something may goes wrong, or you may find that okay, this is the amount of, this is the code of my application, why it is being used at some other place. Like this will help you for in future things. The point number 5 is the important point, which is the payment and the timeline. So point number 5 and point number 2 is quite similar. For example, the amount of time and the amount of task a person is going to do in a particular month, only that amount of money should be paid to him. You are not going to pay it extra. You are not going to pay less. You are going to pay the amount of task he actually did. Look, right now you are just starting. You are not a multinational company. You would pay or give the money to the people just like they are not even working, and you are giving the money. So make sure these things are in proper and these things are in the state. Now, these are the points that we actually talk about the developer. Like these are the points that he's going to do the development and all the coding. What are you going to do? You are a non-technical person. You are not going to sit with him. You are not going to start coding with him. So what is the task for you in the meantime? Obviously, you are going to keep a record of what is happening. But on the other hand, like other than, let's suppose 1 hour meeting, after 1 hour meeting, what are the other tasks you are going to do? So these are the other points that you are going to follow. You are going to start with sales and marketing. So for me, what I think is that sales and marketing starts from the very first time when you have that idea about SaaS. From actually writing your first line of code, you should actually think of what are your customers, whom you are going to pitch, how you are going to pitch to them, and are they actually willing to pay you the amount of money like $50 or $100 that you have planned for your subscription for the amount of solution you are providing to them. So you're going to put some basic landing page, you're going to put a domain, you're going to have a website which will tell to people, okay, this is my idea, this is what I'm going to build, and this is the features that is going to be inside my application. So are you actually willing to pay me this amount of money for using my SaaS application? So with this, you will get a sequent result and feedback of what people say and think about your idea, and it would be totally honest also with you. So this will give you an honest. So this will give you a nice feedback of what people actually think and what your idea can actually do in the market. So it will help you also to make decisions for you. Now, in terms of setting up a website and having a landing page, it's not that difficult. You don't need a coding background, or it's like a no-code platform. You can use something like Wix. If you see my screen right now, you can use something like Wix.com. And use Shuffle. Now, Shuffle is what I use for my applications. Like setting the basic landing page, it actually helps me, and it's really fast to set up a nice, cool landing page just by drag and drop. It does not require any coding or does not require any technical aspect that you need to be aware of. Then the last one is the WordPress, I would say. WordPress is like, most of the website onto the internet uses WordPress, so you can also use WordPress also. So these are a couple of no-code platform that you can actually set up in the starting before before your SaaS is finished from the developer, or actually is coding and all this stuff. So you're going to prepare all the list of the customers. You're going to have a pre-sale record. You're going to have the marketing plan, strategies, and how to roll out. Now, once your actual application is built, everything is done, you are going to roll out to the market. So this we call as what we call as beta rollout. Now, in the beta rollout, we are not going to hand over all the product. As we discussed, we are making an MVP. We are not going to make all the features in it. We are going to make the valuable features which is relevant for our application, which makes our application different from others. So that is the reason why we are going to do beta rollout. Now, beta rollout is going to give this application to, let's suppose, 10 or 15 users that you found from the sales and marketing, and these people are going to give you the feedback. Make sure you are not going to charge money from them, because they are going to provide you the feedback, relevant feedback. They are going to encounter bugs that you are going to solve, and you also need to take consideration the feedback they are providing to them. It's not necessary always to implement all those feedback. Only the feedback which is relevant to you, only the feedback that you think, okay, this is what my, in future, like 100 customers are onboarding, so these are the features they will also require. So you need to think about these things and then going to implement those. Now, once the beta rollout, let's suppose you have spent like at least 1 to 2 months. I basically spent like 3 months of all this beta rollout testing in the environment, how my customers are facing, if any challenge they face, I obviously solve. So these are a couple of points that you need to think in the beta rollout. Now, once your beta rollout has been done, what next is actually to keep going. Okay, so what is the thing that you need to keep going is actually you need to talk to the person who actually developed your platform. Is he going to work, or is he going to stay with you with if you can extend the contract, or if he going to leave your company or your startup that you started. Now let's suppose if he decided to leave, these are the important things that you are going to do. You are first going to take the documentation, a proper documentation, the source code of your entire platform, all the accounts and the things that you have provided to him. Once I know, like, you're not a technical founder, how will you be able to check those documents, and how will you be able to think, okay, these are real the points that I need to happen. So in this area, what you're going to do is that it's like you're going to go to Fiverr or Upwork. You're going to find people who provide consultation in SaaS. So people who are able to, evaluate your SaaS, they're able to check your documentation, and they would be able to provide you true opinion what is actually going on in the picture. And once you have actually examined your papers, your entire documentation, source code, that okay, man, these are the right source code, these are the right document that I have got from the developer, then and only you go and exit that person, and then you start looking for the next team, or you want to build a priority or partnership with someone. You can start to approach your friends or someone, and you can spend more on your team and also on R&D. So these are all the points that you basically needs to know actually starting any SaaS startup before. In further videos, we would be also discussing how to structure your package, how to structure your SaaS package planning, how to make you want to go with monthly subscription, pay as you go basis, or you want to charge quarterly. So all these things we would be also discussing. What are the advantages? How different SaaS companies out there in the market are using this, and all the points that we would be discussing. So I hope you like the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it.